What's up, Wastelanders? How's everybody doing today? I'm doing great, and I hope you are too. It's me, Kiki B. Welcome to this long-awaited episode of Kiki B Plays Fallout 76. This will be my last video of 2021, so here's my little holiday gift to you. Some of you may recall somewhere back in the Cretaceous period when I teased the Lookout Tower build. Now it's finally here. I have finished the damn thing. No more computers were harmed in the making of this video. And today I'm going to show you how to build this really amazing 7-story lookout tower. I have seen quite a few lookout tower builds over the years, but to me they always felt just a bit off in one way or another. In this build I feel like I've really nailed the look and feel with the fairly limited building resources that we have in the game. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you've turned on notifications so you don't miss out on the next absolutely amazing build video. And while you're at it, why not give me a follow over on Instagram as well? You can find me at Kiki B Plays, where you'll get some peeks at upcoming builds and the occasional look at other stuff I'm playing right now as well, because I do play other games and I will be making videos about some of those in the future. So without further ado, let's get down to it. You can build this just about anywhere, as I'll explain in a moment, but this particularly nice location is near the east end of the New River Gorge Bridge, which is a short ways east of Flatwoods, just across the road from the New River Gorge Resort. This tree here is crucial to the whole thing. Fortunately, there are copies of this exact tree pasted all over the forest and in some other regions as well, so you can use any of them to build a similarly tall tower. Now, if you don't have a jetpack, the first thing you're going to want to do is plunk your camp module down at the base of this magical tree and build yourself something to allow you to get up into it. Hopefully, you're better at jumping than I am. Once you finally manage it, you'll want to jump up into this upper part here, and now you're going to place your camp again, this time sliding it up onto this branch as far as it will go. Since your build height is determined by the initial placement of the camp module, putting it down anywhere higher than ground level will add to the height limit. In this case, about 3 stories. I don't know, I didn't measure it exactly. Just keep in mind that in some locations it is possible to place your camp too high to actually be able to build on the ground, so be careful of that. But if you do it just right, you can get as much as 8 or 9 stories of build height. Anyway, let's start building. I'm going to put down my foundation, and I'm actually setting it just a little lower than the bottom of the tree and making it so that the base of the tower is sticking into the dirt a bit. The foundation in this case is 2x2, but normally this tower needs a 2x3 base, which then has a 2x2 tower centered over it, if that makes sense. So if you're building on a flatter area or not hiding part of it in a little hillock like this, make it full-sized, 2x3, or it will look dumb. I also added a couple of foundation pieces out to the side there, which we'll use to create a sort of temporary scaffolding to work from in a minute. This is where the stairs up the center of the tower will start. We're just putting this down for a minute to make sure we get the next part aligned properly. So stack up some of these lovely big staircases, which we'll be attaching temporary floors to. The half floors that we place down below are one edge of our 2x2 tower structure, so let's make sure that the floors are aligned with that. Now, first I'm going to place some half floors sticking out like this, and I'm going to stagger them back and forth all the way up in order to quickly and easily be able to jump from one level to the next as I work. Now, we need to put up some cross beams to support the posts that are holding up the tower, because otherwise it looks wobbly and stupid and like the next stiff breeze is going to blow the whole thing down. So the first step is to attach some 2x2 platforms to our scaffolding, and then we're going to use fences to create the look of beams. Now you have to do this step first before putting up the stairs or posts or anything else in the middle. And now we just want to continue on up the scaffolding, repeating these same steps until we have a total of 5 of these little spatula-looking platforms. Okay, now the cross beams. There are two fence types that I personally think work the best. This first one is not my favorite, but you might like it better, so I included it anyway. You're going to put down these fences all around the platform, and then delete the flooring, and you'll do this all the way up. Now these fences here are definitely the quickest and easiest to use since they snap into place. But I just feel personally like they look a little too chonky and solid here, so I prefer a different option. But you can get an idea of what these would look like if you had 5 rows of these going up the length of your tower. The version I like best is this one. You do have to pay a little attention to the alignment of the fences, and getting them aligned reasonably well is worth it because it will make placing the corner posts much easier later on. But since they do snap together, it goes really quickly once you've got the first one down. And these ones need a little bit of adjusting. And that looks pretty good right there. I like the more airy look that these give as opposed to the solid wooden ones. And of course they also serve the additional function of keeping you from falling off when you're climbing up the tower. Aligning these is not too hard once you get the hang of it, and they don't have to be perfect. Just, pretty close to even all the way around. So go ahead and delete the floors all the way down, and then this step is done. The fences look really weird floating in midair like that, but it will all come together so nicely in the end. Now we can go ahead and put our stairs all the way up to the top. This just consists of a staircase and 2 wire mesh half floors at every level. You can take the time now to vary the floors by using the different damaged wire floor pieces if you like, or change it afterward, or just use one type for all of them, whatever you like. It's really just a personal preference thing. Okay, so we've reached the top of our crossbeams now, which means that this next level is the floor of the little hut at the top of the tower. I'm placing my floors like this, with the half floors on the sides and a full floor in the middle, because it makes it a little easier to put down railings, but you can do them any which way as long as it looks like this in the end. By using 2 half floors on each side of the top floor, then you can just snap wooden railings on the open sides of the staircase if you want to. Obviously, that would be too simple for me, and I like to torture myself with overly complex solutions to really basic problems, so I'm not going to take the easy way out. Now we'll switch back to the wire floors and put down a walkway all around the floor of the hut. It's not much of a lookout tower if you can't, look out over the surrounding area. And full disclosure here, this is one of those points where I go a little overboard to get just the right look. I like the result, and to me it's worth it in the end. But if you just want to plunk down some fences around the walkway like this and be done with it, that absolutely works. You can use the defensive railings or the fences we just used for the crossbeams or any other fence that you like the look of. If you're using these ones here, you'll have to shift the floor around a little bit like this in order to get them all snapped down. Or if you want to go nuts like me, creating the perfect railings out of, I don't know, duct tape, shoelaces, and unicorn farts, I will show you how to do that just a little bit later. Now we're going to put up the walls of our little hut, and yes, I know everyone who doesn't have the greenhouse walls is so sad. They are the closest to the in-game lookout tower walls, so use them if you have them. If you don't have these, I would go with the warehouse or the basic wood windowed walls. Because of the way I pieced the floor together, these are a little fiddly to place, but it works fine. Just make sure they're facing the right way and not with the inside of the wall facing the outside. You can use a wooden wall and change it back to a greenhouse wall afterwards if that makes it easier to tell which way they're facing. And finally, plop down some corner roof pieces on top, and aside from a door, our little hut is finished. As you can see, it's looking really great so far, though it does look a little bit like a jack-in-the-box without the posts on the corners. So how about we fix that now? Let's head up the stairs and put those corner columns down. In order to do that, you're going to need a special blueprint. This will allow you to place metal columns anywhere you like, which is really handy for all kinds of things. If you've seen some of my other videos, you've probably seen this blueprint before. So bear with me for just a minute while I explain it to the folks who don't already know this. Start by snapping 2 of the short metal columns from the stairs tab to the edge of a floor. And now grab a small rug, I like the welcome mat, and just barely nudge the edge of it into the column. You can only get a tiny overlap, but that's all you need. Now blueprint the rug and the 2 columns together, and you're good to go. So now back here on the floors, you're going to wiggle this little blueprint into each corner. I recommend that you line it up so that the column is just touching the wooden frame of the floor, but is still mainly on the wire part. This gives you a little bit of wiggle room in case your fences are not perfectly aligned. That way they don't get in the way of snapping other columns up here. Now you can store those rugs, and if we snap a full-length column on top of these, we can remove the 2 short ones, and the full-size one will stay floating in the air. Then we just attach another full-length column to the bottom of that one. And on the other side, we'll do the opposite. Snap a full column to the bottom of our short stack, and then remove the ones above it. Columns will snap together through floors and roofs and even intersecting certain objects, so we'll have no trouble continuing these posts all the way down to the tower base. I also added in a post up the center of the tower as well afterward, which is a really easy way to wire the whole thing for power. Well, that actually looks like a proper tower now, and not one that's going to get knocked over the next time a Yaogwai farts. So just a quick look at the wiring since it's really simple. I'm putting a generator at the base here temporarily, but later I'll wire the whole thing to a different power source. So if you just head up and place a conduit on this center post every 2 floors, you'll have plenty of radiant power to cover the whole thing. Placing a last conduit underneath the floor of the hut will provide the whole top with power as well, since the conduits create a sphere of power that's 4 floor tiles in diameter. And now connect all of these with wires, and you've got power and lights all the way up the structure. I use the cage bulb lights to light up the stairs, which I really love the look of here. Our tower is looking amazing so far. And if you used regular railings around the walkway, you're done building and ready to furnish it. But I wanted to take my build a step or 12 further, so I'm going to be creating my own railing that's almost identical to what the in-game towers have. So I'm going to do some very creative merging here to create a double metal railing around the whole thing, and it starts with a bookcase. If you're not familiar with merging yet, I do suggest you take a look at my merging tutorial when you're done here, as I am not going to get into the basics here. The first step here is to take this medium-length conduit pipe thing, which is part of the advanced power connectors plan, and line it up nicely on top of the bookcase. You want it really straight, just on the edge, and with the right end just barely sticking out over the side of the bookcase. Now set up your pressure plate and go ahead and sink that pipe down to just below the middle shelf. Then pop a second medium pipe on top. Go ahead and toggle snapping off to make this easier. Make sure it's lined up directly above the first one. Now you can pick it all up by the bookcase and carry it up the tower. Ignore all the other stuff off to the side here. I was making a big mess at the moment, and I'll clean that up. You'll want to stick a temporary floor out here so that you have some space to move around. Then line up the bookcase like this, with the right side at the corner and the front of the shelf right at the edge of the walkway floor. Now you can snap 2 pipes, any size, it doesn't matter which, to the bookcase pipes. This can be a little fiddly, but you'll get it. Now you can move the bookcase away, but don't store or scrap it yet because you'll need to do this on all 4 sides. And then attach 3 long conduit pipes to each of the floating pipes off to the side. Sorry for the bad editing here, my footage was kind of a mess at this part. I removed the hut walls for now because I found it easier to work that way. Hopefully you can get the idea despite the weird order here. Each of the 4 sides will consist of 2 rows of 3 long pipes. When it comes to support posts for the rails, I like the way the powered speakers look. Turned around like this, the speaker itself kind of looks like some little bracket that's holding the rails up. You can choose from various items for supports, though. It really just depends on your preference. I also found that the wooden power pylons looked reasonably nice, even though they're a fair bit taller than the railing. Whatever you use, just put 1 in each corner and 1 in the middle of each side. Now that we've done all the stuff and made our amazingly tall tower, let's take a look at the finished thing. I built this little hut in the style of the ones I remember hiking past in state parks and stuff as a kid. There's always a little area to rest, a map, some other random stuff. It's cute. I didn't do much on this pavilion except add a functioning picnic table, since the existing ones don't actually have benches. And I plopped down a stove and a couple of other little decorations. I added some lighting as well, though if I remember correctly, there's already some existing lighting, it's just not very bright. Since this is a fully functioning ranger outpost, over here we have the ranger's cabin, and in case you didn't realize how long ago I filmed this, the rangers were getting the place all spruced up for Halloween. The addition of a little porch onto the log cabin prefab like this really makes the front of the building look much less naked, in my opinion. The cabin has always bothered me, and it feels really unfinished because of the bare solid wall and the lack of any stairs or anything, and, you know, the fact that the doors don't fit it properly. I kept the interior simple, cozy, just a few essential workbenches and some rustic, homey decor. Now, the tower itself. I added some fencing around the base, which is a common feature that I've noticed in the in-game towers, as well as a few objects that seemed fitting. A lot of the lookout towers around Appalachia have similar junk cluttered around them. And heading up the stairs, I left this whole area bare. A previous incarnation of this tower had some random junk strewn about, but this time I wanted it to feel a bit more looked after, since we do have a park ranger currently stationed here. Now up top we've got a few very basic amenities. I used my magic railing bookcase to create a metal railing indoors as well. Some simple decor and kept it all very tidy and functional. To get Raider Punk's radio onto the desk, I had to place the radio object on a small rug with the rug under the chair part, and then put the rug onto the desk with the radio on top of it, and merge the whole thing down into the desk. I gave him a clean ranger outfit and hat to just, you know, complete the look. It's so perfect merged together like this. Over by the door, we've got a couple of sniper rifles that you can grab on your way outside. And of course, here's our amazing walkway with that fantastic railing. I kept it pretty tidy out here as well. We've got really great views of the surrounding area from up here.
Trying to figure us all out.
And I added a siren, which I've seen at least at the Camp Adams lookout before, and possibly others, and I really liked the idea of that, to kind of warn people in the surroundings if there's something going on. Over here you can see all the way out to Landview Lighthouse. And over in this direction you can get a good look at Flatwoods. That's it from me today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe even learned something. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed and you've turned on notifications, and join us over on Instagram at Kiki Plays if you're so inclined. If you have any questions or there's anything you'd like to see in an upcoming video, let me know in the comments. My family and I wish you a very happy holiday season, whatever you may celebrate, and as always, take care of yourselves, be good to each other, and I will see you next year in the next video.